Hello, welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne, and this is my weekly wrap-up. So I don't really have much to talk about today, but I wanted to film this while I am wearing my little outfit here. This week is Spirit Week at the school where I work, and the theme for today was to wear to come to school dressed as a favorite literary character. And so, not that this is necessarily my favorite literary character, but it is one of my favorite books. And I happen to have this beautiful, gorgeous dress. I mean, look at the details here on the bodice and then on the sleeves. And you won't be able to see it, so I'll lift it up so you can see. This is the hem of the dress. This dress is from India, and a friend of mine gave it to me from India. And so I went to school dressed as Mary Lennox's Aya from The Secret Garden. So I just wanted to film something while I'm wearing this. Anyway, so I have a couple of things in progress. I don't have anything finished to report yet, even though it's Thursday afternoon. Where are my books? So I did pick up Mansfield Park, which I am buddy reading with Bethany Brings Books. Bethany and I are reading Mansfield Park, just starting. I'm a few chapters in, and I have been rereading all the Austen books, all of her full-length novels, and this is my last one to reread. And I have been putting this one off a little bit because I remember it not being my favorite. I just found the story to be a little bit, I don't know, insipid maybe is the best word for it. Like just not a lot going on there. But as I am reading it this time, I don't know if this will hold up as the story goes on. But first of all, there's all the trademark Austen qualities that just she excels at. Her wit, and it takes a minute to get used to like the more complex structure of her sentences and her huge vocabulary when you haven't been, reading books like that recently. But once you get into the flow of Austen's writing, the prose is just so perfect. Like she just says so much in every sentence, and I'm just really enjoying. I'm still in the stage in the book where we're really kind of getting to know all of the different characters, and it's just very, very interesting. She excels at writing good characters, realistic characters that you feel like and you get immersed in their world and you feel like you know them so well. So I'm really enjoying this. I am really loving Edmund Bertram's character. I'm only 4 chapters in, but already I just really love his steady, faithful, kind, discerning character. Like he's just such a great guy. Really enjoying that so far in this story, and I'm looking forward to reading more of that. And then I have Eugene Onegin. Now, I had been reading, I don't know where it is. I had been reading from this one, which is dual language. It's got Russian on one side and an English translation on the other side. But it was just getting really like unwieldy with juggling, reading that and then the English, and then this English version as well, which I like reading this English version because it's written in true poetic style, like with meter and rhythm and rhyme, matching the Russian version. So I always like to finish up, reading each stanza with this one. And I find that this is a great translation that really preserves the humor and the poetic flow of Pushkin's writing, but it's also very, very readable. So I'm really enjoying this English translation, but I was just finding it difficult, like just reading three versions of the same thing and kind of juggling between them and all the footnotes and everything. And then I remembered that I don't know if I showed you this, but I have this copy of Eugene Onegin. I have had this booger for almost 25 years, maybe 25 years, I don't know. And haven't read it yet. That's how long it's been on my TBR. Can anybody beat that? What is the oldest book you've had on your TBR? How, like, the book you've had on your TBR the longest? Yeah, 25 years. Just now getting to it. Anyway, so I switched to reading this. This is just the Russian, and then the English, and that's been a lot more manageable, and I'm able to go a lot faster, and yeah, really enjoying it. So far in the story, like, it feels like not a lot happens in the story as you go on. There's a lot of little, like, side tangents that excuse me, Pushkin takes regarding his thoughts on poetry and the literary world and the cultural world in Russia at the time and stuff like that. His, like, little diatribes almost, very humorously done. But the actual story is told in relatively, in my opinion, few stanzas, but yet just very well done. And there are two things in particular this week that I've read in this story that I really enjoyed. And the first one was his portrayal of Tatiana being a young girl, well, a teenage girl. You know, I don't know that her age is exactly stated, but you get the impression that she's like a teenager, like 17, 18 years old, maybe, I'm not sure. But she is falling in love with Eugene Onegin, and it's like, it's a perfect portrayal of teenage love / infatuation / major crush. It's not in a cynical way at all, but very realistic. And all of the things that she's feeling, like, you know, the strong feelings of teenage girlhood, the anxiety that it brings, you know, like, you know, does he even notice me? Does he like me? Does he hate me? What if I do this? What will he do? And, you know, like, nervousness of how to act, you know, around your crush, sort of thing. But it's very beautifully told. It's not juvenile in any way, if that makes sense, if that's compatible with everything that I just previously said. And then you have Yevgeny's response to Tatiana. It's kind of difficult to say exactly how old he is in this story, but people say probably around 25 years old. And he's already at that age, like, cynical and a little bit depressed. He's worldly. He's experienced everything the world has to offer, and he's kind of done with it all. So he's coming from a place of worldly wisdom and cynicism that Tatiana has no idea of. And yet he responds to her so gentlemanly, and I really, really loved that. It was very well done. He doesn't put her down. He doesn't dismiss her. He doesn't, at this point in the story. There's more to go. But at this point in the story, the way he is responding to her is very gentlemanly. It's not dismissive. He's not putting her down. He's not mocking her or, and he's not taking advantage of her either, which, you know, someone in his position very well could have. And there are plenty of stories written about that sort of thing. But he doesn't do that. So I'm really appreciating that so far. I know that the story is going to take some different turns as we move forward, but at this point in the story, I'm really enjoying that aspect. So that is what I have going so far. I am in the middle of reading City Spies, and we'll definitely finish that in the next day or two, and we'll be adding a clip about that here. That may be all I finish. We'll see. I may have some other things to report as we get closer to the weekend, but that is it for now. I just wanted to film this in my Indian dress. So I hope you are having a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye. It is now Sunday afternoon. Normally I post my weekly wrap-up on Sunday morning, but this one is going to be a little late because life. Busy. I did finish reading a couple of things that I just wanted to update on before we really head into this new week for real. The first thing was this book called A True Gentleman by M.A. Nichols. And I read this one because I was looking for, I'm a little bit irritated with myself because it doesn't like go with any of my goals or prompts or anything for the month of March. I just was riding in the car at night and I needed something I could read on my Kindle in the dark. And so I just pulled up something that I had on there. This had been recommended to me by someone that I follow on Goodreads, and she thought I would really like it. It's a Regency romance novel, and I liked the sound of it because it had the Tenant of Wildfell Hall vibes to it. And if you, which is by Anne Bronte, and it is my favorite, I think, between that and Jane Eyre, it's my favorite Bronte novel. And in that story, the woman, the main character, she marries a man who ends up being good for nothing, literally, and a drunkard, and not treating her and her son well. And so she escapes him and is supporting herself and meets the owner of the, like, she's renting, I think, like a part of a manor or something, and she's renting rooms, and she meets and ends up falling in love with the owner of the house that she's renting from. But meanwhile, she's still married to this good for nothing jerk. So yeah, it's a very interesting story, and like, you have to really be careful with that storyline because of the whole issue of adultery. You don't want to glorify it, and yet it is perfectly reasonable to expect that someone in those circumstances, that this could happen. And so the book explores, you know, the ins and outs of that situation, and you know, what is right and what is wrong, etc. And so this book, A True Gentleman by M.A. Nichols, is very similar in the storyline. And the person who recommended it to me, who read it on Goodreads, said that she felt the author, M.A. Nichols, had really handled very well the issue of falling in love with this honorable man, meanwhile being married to this scum of the earth, who was dragging the whole family down. And meanwhile raises topics of abuse and of alcoholism and even class consciousness, because one reason her husband refuses, like one reason why they lose everything essentially in this story, and one reason is because her husband refuses to get gainful employment because he's a gentleman, which is a real mockery of the word. And so it's, you know, it delves a little bit into that. And also it contrasts, you know, it's kind of exploring, like the title of the story is A True Gentleman, and it's really exploring what is a true gentleman, what makes a man honorable. And so I think that it did that very well. It was an enjoyable read as far as that goes. Not anywhere near approaching the depth of Anne Bronte's book, of course. Wouldn't really expect it to, wasn't trying to. But it was still pretty well done overall, and I enjoyed it. I'm 3.5, 4 stars. You know, it's not something that I would be like, oh, that's, you know, an amazing book, but at the same time, it was very well done, and I enjoyed it as I read it. And then I finished this book for middle grade March, which, as someone pointed out to me in the comments, this one can actually count for the refugees prompt, because each of the kids in this story, they're city spies. Each of these kids is orphaned and in need of a home and a family, and they end up all working together in Scotland for MI6 on this team, and it becomes kind of like a found family kind of story, and each of them is, in a way, a refugee from their own circumstances and their own place where they were brought up. It's called City Spies because each of the kids comes from a different city around the world, and their spy name is their city that they're from. So there's Paris and Kat, who is from Kathmandu, and Sydney and Brooklyn. So together Rio, there's another Rio. And together they make up this spy team. I guess, I don't know if he's their lead or their handler or whatever, is ironically called Mother. Then there's another woman whose name is Monty, who is kind of like head of the whole program, I guess. Anyway, so this was a fun read. It moves pretty quick. The plot moves pretty quick and goes from Brooklyn to Scotland to Paris pretty quick, with a brief stop retrospectively into Sydney, Australia. And you get a little bit of Mother's backstory in here. Sort of the main character of this book is Brooklyn, the girl from New York. She's kind of the main emphasis of this story. But you get a little bit of a glimpse into several of the other kids and their backstories, kind of interwoven as it is pretty tightly written in that what is in here is essential to the plot. There's not anything extraneous. There are, even what seem like diversions or flashbacks to something inconsequential is actually important to the development of the plot. And so it's very, very tightly written in that sense. And I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good read. I guess, I think I gave it 4 stars. I think I gave it 4 stars in my reading journal. I haven't put it on Goodreads yet as I'm doing this video, but it was good. It wasn't like, amazing, but there wasn't anything that I disliked about it. My thing is that I have learned about myself that I am not really into spy stories. It's just something that doesn't interest me. And honestly, sometimes I have difficulty, and I don't know if it's because this is a legitimate spy thing that I just don't understand, or if it's a flaw in books about spies. Maybe you can help me figure this out. But sometimes I fail to understand the purpose of their mission. And that was that was happening a little bit here. Like, one part of their mission I totally understood. But another part of it seemed like they were effectively functioning as what I would think of more like something FBI agents would do, like protecting this international personality because he was like, a vital sort of person. He had a lot of information and he had a lot of money and he had a lot of control or whatever. And he was suspected to be in danger. Now, mind you, this person in question has like his own bodyguards. All of his buildings where he is in this story have like this crazy security setup and everything. Why are 5 kids tasked with protecting him from a danger that they're not even really sure where it's coming from? Or like, there's one scene where one of the kids, like they're pretty sure, like, if anything is going to happen, it's going to happen now. And so the one kid is like looking around for the danger. I mean, he doesn't even have a gun or any weapon of any kind. Like, they're just supposed to be spying and gathering information. Why are they tasked with protecting someone? That doesn't make sense to me. And other spy books that I've read, I think that's a huge part of why I don't enjoy them so much, because their missions confuse me. And I'm like, would this really be a real spy mission? Or are we just making this up to make a story? I don't know. And sometimes it just feels really thin to me in terms of story. Like, if it had been left at the other aspects of their mission, I think that would have made more sense. Yeah, but I realized that either I just haven't read any really good spy stories, or I don't like spy stories. It's one or the other. I don't really know. I'm not particularly interested in reading more to find out. But if you know of a really good one, let me know. And I will see if I enjoy that one or not. So anyways, that's the thing. It's me. It's not the book. The book was fine. Nothing objectionable. Great story about kids bonding together. and completing their mission, and they have some, you know, relationship issues as, you know, the one girl is new to the team, and there's a little bit of history about the girl who left the team, that she's taking her place, and whatever. There's some immature behavior in here, but, you know, they're like 13, 14, 15 in this story, and I have a 13 and a 15-year-old, so seems legit to me. Not gonna lie. So it was very good. I enjoyed it overall. So good story, good read. I'm glad I read that, and my younger son read this one. We haven't had a chance too much to compare notes with it, but he did love it, and he went on to read the whole series, the rest of the series, in like a week. So definitely gets a good endorsement from him. And yeah, I saw nothing objectionable in it. So if you or your kids are interested in spy stories, adventure stories, stories about kids doing great things and pushing themselves, again, I really enjoyed that aspect of the story, of the characters, you know, not just content with status quo, but really like pushing to learn more and do more, and to fulfill their mission well, and the perseverance that they had, and the bravery and the courage that they had. It's good things, all good things. So definitely an enjoyable story, and that is what I finished for this week. But I will close out this video today with a little clip of my daffodils blooming in the yard. This week it's going to be cold, so I don't know what's going to happen with things that are blooming already. We'll see. But for yesterday, I was determined to enjoy all of the beautiful daffodils that were growing in our backyard. And so I clipped a few to put them on our kitchen table. And yeah, just gonna share that with you. So have a lovely week, and I will see you next time. In the meantime, enjoy your reading and your coffee, and I will see you next time. I just wanted to show you my blooming daffodils. There's so many this year. I don't think we've ever had this many. So gorgeous. Look at that. These are some big ones. So beautiful. I love the beginning of spring. And I have just a few of these bright yellow ones. But look at those petals. Like they're like, how do I describe that? Like fluttery. I don't know. There we go. That's focusing. So beautiful. And then I have just a couple of this kind blooming. I love that color. It looks so Eastery. Look how beautiful.